Today on Inquirer, Department of Agriculture authorizes the importation of 21,000 metric tons of red and yellow onions. Jose Faustino Jr. breaks silence after stepping down as defense chief. He says he left his post to protect the reputation of the AFP. At least 9 DND officials have tendered their resignation, according to the department's spokesperson. And Meralco announces rate hike for January. Good evening. The Department of Agriculture has authorized the importation of more than 21,000 metric tons of red and yellow onions. To tell us more, here's Denisa Fernandez reporting live. Denisa?
The Department of Agriculture, or DA, has authorized the importation of 21,060 metric tons of red and yellow onions as the agricultural commodities retail prices in the markets remain at the 600 pesos per kilogram level. The latest move is meant to address the supply gap prior to peak harvest in 2023 and to stabilize the continuous increase in price of fresh onions in the market, said the DA in a memo signed by Agriculture Senior Undersecretary Domingo Panganiban. For this round, 17,100 metric tons of fresh red onions and 3,960 metric tons of fresh yellow onions will be imported. Retail prices of red onions have recently increased to as high as 700 pesos per kilo, most likely the most expensive in the world. 4 to 5 months ago, onion prices ranged from 120 to 170 pesos a kilo. According to DA Deputy Spokesman Rex Perez, the volume of onions to be imported was based on the demand of the public while waiting for the peak harvest this year. The harvest season will start in mid-January, but the peak would be in mid-February to May, as Perez said. Meanwhile, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has ordered the phytosanitary inspection of smuggled onions to ensure their safety before they are released to the market. The Presidential Communications Office said the President raised the need to tap third-party inspectors to conduct phytosanitary inspections to check for transboundary diseases. Marcos said some of the confiscated onions were not fit for human consumption based on the previous inspections, pointing out that the cost of the inspection is 5,000 pesos per kilo, which is much higher than the value of the onion. The BOC, or the Bureau of Customs, earlier said it is eyeing to donate the remaining shipments of seized agricultural products, including onions, to Kadiwa stores. BOC Commissioner Yogi Filimon Ruiz has said that more than 500 container vans of smuggled agricultural items are still at the ports where they were confiscated.
Denisa, napakamahal talaga ngayon ng sibuyas. So with this move, should we expect a decline in the prices of onion?
Yes, Neil. Even before the importation was authorized, the DA said that a lower suggested retail price, or SRP, for onions may be seen by the second week of January. For the first week of January, the SRP for a kilo of onions is 250 pesos. Based on the DA's meeting with stakeholders, the SRP for the second week of the month is expected to lower at 200 pesos per kilo.
Okay, thanks, Denisa. That's Denisa Fernandez reporting live. Resigned Department of National Defense Officer in Charge Jose Faustino Jr. said he decided to leave his post to protect the reputation of the armed forces of the Philippines. John Eric Mendoza fills us in with the details. Eric?
Saying he only learned of the development through news and social media, former Defense Officer in Charge General Jose Faustino Jr. today said he resigned after the reappointment of Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Andres Centino. Faustino said he submitted his irrevocable letter of resignation to President Bongbong Marcos on Friday, January 6. Presidential Peace Advisor Carlito Galvez Jr. has been appointed as the new defense chief. For his part, Centino said he resigned to protect the reputation of the AFP. He said he cannot allow the AFP's reputation to be tarnished, maligned, or politicized. Malacanang on Friday announced that Marcos reappointed Centino as the AFP Chief of Staff, replacing Lieutenant General Bartolome Bacaro. In August last year, Marcos named Bacaro as his first AFP chief, replacing Centino, who held the post from November 12, 2021 to August 8, 2022. Centino formally assumed office on Saturday morning in a change of command ceremony. However, during Centino's change of command ceremony on Saturday, rumors of mass resignation in the Department of National Defense have circulated. These rumors stem from an unverified memo from the Philippine National Police, which put the entire country under full alert status due to the alleged mass resignation in the DND. The PNP later disowned the memorandum. However, on Tuesday, DND spokesperson Arsenio Andolong confirmed that at least 9 officials of the DND have tendered their courtesy resignation after Faustino stepped down as the agency's officer in charge and senior undersecretary. Andolong also said that 5 undersecretaries and 4 assistant secretaries have tendered their courtesy resignations. Neil?
Eric, if I got it correctly, at least 9 officials have resigned, right? And this includes undersecretaries and, right? Is that correct?
Yes, Neil.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
what's the implication of the resignation of these officials?
Thank you for that, Neil. The resignation of DND officials is out of procedural requirement, and it's up to Secretary Galvez if he would allow them to continue their position. Neil?
It seems that a lot of things are really happening right now within the Department of National Defense and the Defense Department in general. So, has the recent happenings affected the morale of the DND and the AFP? What does it look like inside the department?
Yes, Neil, that's a very good question. No, we asked some officials as to the present moral status of the AFP, but we did not get a direct response to this. But the AFP and DND both reiterated that the military establishment is a professional organization. DND spokesperson Arsenio Andolong, however, said that some DND officials or some DND rank and file employees were saddened over Faustino's resignation. Neil?
Okay, that's John Eric Mendoza reporting live. Consumers may need to further tighten their belts this month as Meralco announced an increase in electricity rates. According to Meralco, power rates for January will increase by 62 centavos per kilowatt hour. This brings the total electricity rate to about 10 pesos and 90 centavos per kilowatt hour this month from 10 pesos and 28 centavos per kilowatt hour in December. For residential customers consuming 200 kilowatts per hour, the adjustment is equivalent to an increase of about 125 pesos in their total electricity bill. The main drivers for the rate hike include the surge in the generation charge and the completion of the refunds mandated by the Energy Regulatory Commission. Lawyer Cheloy Garafil is the new secretary of the Presidential Communications Office after serving as its officer in charge. The PCO announced this through a post, sharing photos of Garafil taking her oath before President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Garafil first served as the OIC of the now-defunct Office of the Press Secretary in October 2022, following the resignation of then Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles. Prior to that, she was the chair of the Land Transportation, Franchising, and Regulatory Board. Senator Grace Poe urged telecommunication firms to bolster the SIM registration drive as only 9% of mobile subscribers have signed up. As of January 9, around 16 million out of the 168 million SIM users have registered. In a statement, Poe, who sponsored the SIM registration bill in the Senate, said telcos must ramp up their drive to encourage subscribers to register. The senator stressed that the registration is free and having majority sign up at the last minute may bring challenges in handling the traffic of registrants. Under Republic Act No. 11934, mobile users must register their mobile numbers to curb cybercrime attacks such as phishing and scams. Users have until April 26, 2023 to register their SIM. The registration period could be extended for 120 days by the Department of Information and Communications Technology. The SIM of users who fail to register by the deadline will be deactivated. Alamin natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Irvin Santiago ng Bandera. Irvin?
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Ito na nga ang latest bandera chika. Wala nang komunikasyon ngayon ang dating magjowang sina Barbie Imperial at Diego Loizaga mula nang magkahiwalay sila mahigit 1 taon na ngayon ang nakararaan. Pero agad namang nilinaw ni Barbie na hindi sila magkaaway ni Diego. Sa katunayan, payag na payag pa rin siyang gumawa sila ulit ng pelikula kapag nabigyan ng pagkakataon. Friends pa rin naman kayo ni Diego, diba?
Diego, hindi naman po friends. Pero hindi din po kami mag-away. Kumbaga, masaya na po kami sa... Ay, wala po kami.
Wala na.
Mag-happy po kami sa kanya-kanya namin.
Pero may mga fans, Barbie, na gusto kayo ulit makita on screen, na magka-partner. Payag ka ba?
Dapat meron kami. Dapat i-shoot namin noong December. Hindi ko lang, under Viva ata yun. Hindi ko lang sure kung bakit hindi na-push. Yeah.
Handa na rin daw siyang magka-boyfriend ulit dahil matagal-tagal na rin siyang single. At sa pagkakaalam namin ay isang politiko ang nanliligaw ngayon sa kanya. Pero nakiusap sa amin si Barbie na wag muna siyang pag-usapan. Ready na ba ulit?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready, yeah. Matagal na yung last and nag-heal naman na. So, yeah, ready.
Ikaw ba
But
mas
ang
magiging...
main focus, syempre, parang medyo na, hindi naman nawala, pero medyo nawalan ng inspirasyon before.
Yeah.
Parang medyo tinamad. And I think that's normal naman. Tayo naman, di ba? Nagpapagod, nagpapahinga. But now, yung focus ka talaga, pang career talaga.
Pero Barbie, magiging choosy ka na ba? Dahil sa mga failed relationship? Hindi, I mean sa lalaki, sa guy.
Yes, syempre. Pero,
Naging careful ka na ba?
careful, yes. Although before I tried to be careful naman, and hindi ko naman sinasabi na parang wrong choice yung mga naging ex ko. Syempre, nag-fail lang yung relationship. And minsan ganun talaga. And ako naman, grateful pa rin ako and thankful ako lalo sa mga lessons na nakukuha ko from them. Kasi if not, because of them, di ba, hindi naman ako wala akong matututunan.
At yan ang bandera chika natin for today. Thanks, Neil.
Maraming salamat, Irvin. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.